Yo, everyone, what the fuck did I just read? Like, okay, seriously, being 100% upfront, I had to read this chapter multiple times so I could reassure myself I was seeing what I thought I was seeing. Like, first and foremost, just what the actual fuck happened with Zoro. Like, he's obviously not dead, I hope, because the way it happened, it goes against Oda's rule about death. But with the amount of shit hitting us at one time in this chapter, it's almost making me think this is the one time where he's gonna be breaking that one rule. And that's not even accounting for the fact that the thing standing over Zoro about to deliver the killing strike was the fucking Grim Reaper. Like, what? Huh? The Grim Reaper's in One Piece, like an actual physical presence. And Oda's just left me like, I got nothing to say. Like, what? And right now the man's got me stressed and leaving me desperate to hope he just didn't kill off my favorite of the monster trio. And again, as far as the whole Grim Reaper thing goes, everyone's best guess is as good as mine, because there's my best guess is we're going with Christmas Carol logic. I don't know. Like, Chopper did say that Zoro was already near death, but that still doesn't explain why we're seeing the fucking Grim Reaper. Like, Oda, what are you what the hell is going on? Oda, I'm saying this now. You better not fucking cock tease us and just have us and skip to something else entirely next chapter. Because honestly, this shit needs an explanation, dude. I'm just saying. Like, again, I know you kind of explained it away, saying that that Zoro was near death, but still, like, what the fuck? I'm going a little cross-eyed here. Okay, so moving on from that, otherwise I'm going to drive myself crazy. One of the other things to talk about is that Law and Kid finally defeat Big Mom, and yeah, it was about time that finally happened, because if Oda kept that whole fight going any longer, it was just going to get tedious, frankly. Like, for as much as we may complain that the fight with Kaido's going on too long, I think there's a legitimate reason for that. But with Big Mom, yeah, she just needs to get out of the fucking way. But I guess obviously one of the big takeaways with their defeat does in itself show that the Yonko can in fact be defeated, and they're not as invincible as their legend claims to be. Which in Kaido's case is interesting, seeing how he's basically a walking contradiction of that idea. Because on one hand, because of his history with how many times he was captured or defeated, it's not like he ever like claimed or has ever like had this presence of like he's an undefeatable monster. But as Luffy's numerous attempts have also proven, there is still a very large strength gap that needs to be overcome in order to actually defeat him. Which does now, I do want to talk about now. So it does show that Luffy does need to overcome that gap, and Luffy has been training to overcome that gap. It's just a question of it's enough. Now, I do want to talk about Kid and Law themselves, because recently I have seen a certain section of people who say it's out of character for them, but especially Kid, to care so much about helping Luffy. And to that I have to say, have you even been paying attention to literally anything about what's been going on? Like, they're in an absolute clusterfuck of a situation, with escape not really exactly being an option. And when you're pushed to that extreme of desperation, you will pretty much do anything or rely on anyone to survive. But since we also know that Kid and Law like refuse to be subordinates to a Yonko, the only two options are fight or die, and crossing are fight or die. Like the Kid and Law, like there's only one. Those two options only exist to them, and as well as to Luffy. And crossing that over into my other argument against that idea is that of it being out of character for them to put so much faith in Luffy. If you really look back on Saab Audi Archipelago, when they first like teamed up with Luffy, and Luffy like at one point declared he'll be the king of the pirates right to their faces. you gotta imagine that Luffy being as bold as he was at that time, it did light a fire under both of them to the point where, regardless of how they view Luffy, whether it's as an ally, rival, enemy, or whatever, the Law and Kid we saw in the beginning probably wouldn't have even like the Law and Kid we saw in the beginning of in the beginning wouldn't have even considered facing the Yonko directly, like the Law and Kid of like the Law and Kid we see now are vastly different characters from the ones we saw when they were first introduced. So and part of that change is because of Luffy, for better or worse. If and if anything, like I don't think if anything I think it's too if anything I think it's too simple to like to say they've grown soft. If anything, I think Kid and Law have gotten just a lot more reckless thanks to Luffy. So the idea that Luffy has made Kid and Law soft is something I just don't buy, unfortunately. Now, getting on to the more important about this whole now, I think the more important thing about this whole experience for Kid, though, is that while I don't think he'll ever get that point he was at when he initially allied with Hawkins and Apu, I think teaming up with Luffy and Law has also allowed Kid as a character to reach kind of this middle ground where he's okay with relying on others when he truly does need help, but he's also limited within the scope of the people he knows he can actually trust. And I think he has formed a bit of a bond of trust with Luffy and Law at this point. With that said, let's talk about what's going on with Yamato, because on the surface it does appear like she basically has the whole situation in Onegashima's arsenal like under control or whatnot. Like she's basically kept the ink monster at bay or whatnot. But the thing is, it's gonna keep. But the thing is, that ink monster is basically that ink monster is gonna keep going and going until it's achieved its objective. So it's looking like best case scenario, and the only thing Yamato can do is really hold it off. And honestly, even then, I don't know if she's going to be able to hold it off like completely, because the biggest question I'm asking myself right now in this situation is what basically happened with the what's happened with the anime's newest opening, with seemingly Kaido destroying the Flower Capital. How is the anime going to be reaching that point? Like, what is it that motivates Kaido to resort to that drastic measure? And that's my biggest question right now, because it feels like Onigashima being destroyed and not becoming that central base of Wano, it feels like the only inciting incident that would make made sense in order to for an ending like that to even happen. It feels like Kaido would need to have at least his main goal somehow out of his reach in order for him to be just completely done with the idea of just completely done with Wano entirely and just destroy the damn place. For me right now, it's all about making heads or tails of what's going to lead us from getting from point A to point B in this situation. Because again, the trailer kind of made it, the newest opening made it clear that the Flower Capital is going to go bye-bye. It's just a matter of what's going to get us there. That's the biggest question for me. But yeah, guys, that's all I've got for this little bit of craziness. Again, Oda, you got a lot of explaining to do next chapter, bro. I'm just saying. So I hope you got a good explanation for when you get back, dude. But yeah, guys, that's all I've got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, handle is Crunchyroll. Be sure to hit the notification bell, hit the subscribe button, and just share the video around, guys. Dark Knight of me, signing off. Later, everyone.